since the drainage contractors left on the 16th of August, the teams have been working hard to prepare for phase 3. So I'm out on 18, and this is where the drainage contractors will be starting when they come back. They are due to come back on the 16th of September. They'll be here for 3 weeks, and they need to complete 18, 6 and 13. So obviously there's 3 of the longest holes on the course, but a lot of the kind of groundworks, if you like, the basis infrastructure has already been completed. When the contractors start work on the 18th, it will mean that 16, 17 and 18 will be closed. One of the major spoil dumping areas will be at the back of this 17th tee. Unfortunately, there won't be a way of getting golfers around the golf course whilst dumping spoil back here and keeping golfers safe at the same time. So it will mean that there'll be 3 holes closed, but obviously because it's 3 holes on the same 9, it will mean that the course will remain qualifying. Once the drainage contractors are back on site, we will be starting the big clear up. So obviously there's been some huge construction projects at Crondon over the last few months, and one of the recovery stages is topping up these trenches. So as you would have seen, all these trenches have settled. We are expecting them to settle sort of up to 25%. One of the main reasons why we haven't topped them back up yet is because when we put root zone back in them, when we put seed back in them, we will need growing conditions. So obviously those growing conditions do involve rain. Unfortunately, it's been rather dry over the last few weeks, but once that forecast starts to change, we will start to put that root zone in, start to put the seed in so it can then germinate, and that root network, once the grass starts to germinate, will start to create some structure in the top of the trenches, and will then stop them dropping as much in the future. Another part of the big clear up is areas like this on 10, and we'll be starting to tidy these areas up. So obviously there's leftover material out on the golf course, there's lots of piles of spoil that need tidying up, and just general waste areas that have been created from obviously heavy machinery driving around and moving materials around. So we aim to try and get all of these areas tidied by the winter, but obviously there's a lot. I mean, we have over 400 points on our big clear up to-do list, and we'll be working our way through that over the coming months. You would have seen the path contractors have been working hard, so I'm out on 17, where this is the first hole that they've started putting some of the surface down. Again, this is road planings, so this is ground down to 10 mil. This hasn't had the oil on it yet, so this is not quite the finished product, but it's been bow-magged down to level off the surface. As you can see, we've tried to keep these path networks out the way, and this wraps round nicely down round between the tee boxes. So once the guys have got this down, they'll then put some oil on top. Again, we have to then wait for that to dry. Temperature this time of year will help to kind of fuse it all together, which should give this nice finished product. Whilst we're waiting for this surface to dry, please can members refrain from walking on the surface. The last thing we want is then walking oil across the rest of the golf course. On top of all the other projects at Crondon, we have obviously just undertaken Greens Maintenance Week. So for those that have played, obviously the putting surfaces are still recovering. On Friday just past, Stuart Rogers did fertilise all of the greens, so we have let them grow over the weekend, and they will be due to have a cut this evening. Hopefully that will start to smooth out the surface, so we'll cut them this evening, cut them tomorrow morning, and they're also due a heavy roll and an iron. So it should be maybe another week, 10 days before they're back to their usual consistent surfaces.